In our headlines for this evening, Alexandria Hospital commissions intercom system and Nevis joins the observance of World Cancer Day. The details are straight ahead. Good evening and welcome to the Nevis Newscast. Today is Wednesday, February 4th, 2015. I'm Donis Wilkinson Keynes. The returning officers and the places of nomination for candidates for election to the National Assembly have been announced by the Electoral Office. In a statement, the Electoral Office notified the general public that following the writs of elections by Governor General His Excellency Sir Edmund Lawrence for the election of members of the National Assembly to be held on Monday, February 16, 2015, notices concerning the nomination of candidates have been published by the returning officers for the 11 electoral constituencies in accordance with the provisions of the National Assembly Elections Act. The notices of nomination set Friday, February 6, 2015 as a day for nomination of candidates. Nominations will be received by returning officers at the places of nomination between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. and 2 and 4 p.m. The returning officer for Nevis 9 is Alsted Pemberton, and the place of nomination is the Charlestown Police Station. The returning officer for Nevis 10 is Shefton Liburd, and the place of nomination is the Gingerland Police Station. The returning officer for Nevis 11 is Eileen Walwyn, and the place of nomination is the Newcastle Police Station. As stated by the Electoral Office, each candidate must be nominated by 2 registered voters of the electoral district for which the candidate seeks election. Each nominated candidate is also required to deposit with the returning officer the sum of $150. The deposit will be refunded provided the candidate receives more than 1/8 of the votes polled in the electoral district. The Washington-based International Monetary Fund, IMF, says the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis has made a third payment ahead of schedule, reflecting an improvement in the country's economy. St. Kitts and Nevis repaid ahead of schedule about a $3.9 million obligation to the IMF on January 29, 2015. This is the third early repayment by St. Kitts and Nevis of the about $73.1 million borrowed under its standby arrangement approved by the IMF Executive Board in July 2011. The first early repayment was made on June 24, 2014 for about $7.1 million, while the second early repayment was made on October 30, 2014 for about $4.1 million. These early repayments reflect the improvement in the country's macroeconomic situation, the IMF says. The International Financial Institution discloses that the third repayment covers a portion of the obligations falling due in the second half of 2015. It reduces the outstanding obligations of St. Kitts and Nevis to the IMF to about $43.4 million, or about 345.5% of quota from 376.7%, and further lowers its debt to GDP ratio by about 0.5% of GDP to about 80%, the IMF says. The outstanding balance is projected to be repaid over the period 2015 to 2018. The occasion of the rehabilitation of roads in the Hamilton area was a good time to rename 2 streets in honor of 2 of Nevis's cricket icons, Stuart Williams and Carl Tuckett. So said Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Vance Amory, as he addressed yesterday's official renaming ceremony. Premier Amory says citizens who excel and serve their country well deserve to be recognized.
We are here to recognize and honor Carl MacArthur Tuckett and Stuart Clayton Williams for their prowess in cricket but above all because they have done their bit to make Nevis recognized and recognizable throughout the world. As we honor these two outstanding sportsmen, outstanding gentlemen, I want to hold them up to our young people, that they begin to see that out of this country we have examples which they can follow, and they ought to follow and replicate. And I wish that when our people pass these signs, that they would see them as monuments. They would see them as signposts, not as of the past, but as signposts to the future, especially for our young people. That here is something which could be replicated in other areas if they are willing and able to do what they are capable of doing to get the best out of themselves and the best for their country.
Federal Area Representative the Honorable Mark Brantley, in his remarks, noted that Williams and Tuckett have really made Nevis proud.
Sometimes we see people who excel, and because of their humility and because we know them since they're small, we know where they're from, we take it for granted. I want to put on record this afternoon that it could not have been easy to have come from Government Road and made it to the West Indies team. I say that with no reservations. We have never had the facilities, we have never had the coaching, we've never had the type of if you will, infrastructure that you find in major countries. And for Carl Tuckett and Stuart Williams to have come from Government Road, following in the footsteps of the likes of El Comido Willett, who would have done it in even more difficult times, and to make the West Indies team, and to go on to walk out into the capitals and the major grounds of the world to represent this little island, I think is truly phenomenal. And sometimes we forget, or sometimes we choose not to remember. But I believe that at every occasion that we have, we ought to celebrate individuals like Mr. Tuckett and my friend Mr. Stuart Williams, and to say to them that Nevis is grateful to them for what they do and what indeed they continue to do.
The recognition is worthy and fitting of the recipients, remarked the Minister of Communications and Works, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers.
You know, in certain countries and various parts of the world, I must say, persons would have to petition for a building or road or some form of infrastructure to be renamed or named after some significant person. I must say that there was no petition in this case. It was done by the Nevis Island administration with the consultation of all the members of cabinet, and I believe I can safely say there was no objection in renaming these two pieces of road, which is the road formerly called Pump Road and also the road which is formerly called Hamilton Road. So I want to commend both Carl Tuckett and Stuart Williams for their contribution to the development of Nevis on the international stage in terms of our exposure out there.
The Stuart Williams Drive and the Carl Tuckett Boulevard are two stretches of road recently rehabilitated by the Nevis Island Administration's Public Works Department. We'll have more local news after this break.
Welcome to Nevis.
It's easy to believe that all Caribbean islands are the same until you visit Nevis.
Nevis is the Caribbean of a bygone era.
You will enjoy a most intimate vacation on Nevis. You're only a stranger here once.
We offer exclusive and barefoot luxury stays.
With only 400 hotel rooms, our island may be exclusive.
But the warm, genuine and friendly welcome is just everywhere.
We look forward to meeting you.
Visit nevisisland.com.
Welcome back.
Dr. Etienne, could you please respond to the emergency room? Dr. Etienne, please respond to the emergency room. Nurse Jones.
Nevis's Alexandra Hospital on Monday commissioned a new intercom and public address system acquired through its partnership with the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO. According to Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Nicole Slack-Liebert, the system is part of some materials acquired through PAHO's Safe Hospital initiative.
This initiative involved an assessment of the Alexandria Hospital to determine its readiness to respond to emergencies. A number of recommendations were made, and shortly after there was a follow-up, and the Alexandria Hospital performed wonderfully well, and we take the opportunity to thank the staff for the various upgrades that were made.
The Permanent Secretary says that it proves to be a model institution in the region. Some assistance was given to the Alexandria Hospital to further equip the facility to respond to emergencies.
We received a number of pieces of equipment, including computers, printers, and television set, as well as a whiteboard and various posters, etc., to equip our Emergency Operations Center, which is located at the administration building. A final piece of equipment as part of this project was a PA system, and over the last few months we've been getting it ready, and we finally sorted out through the kinks, and it is operational. And this PA system will of course be used. It's very important in emergencies. We can announce on that system and everyone will be able to respond effectively. The whole hospital will be able to hear what are the next steps, what evacuation procedures or what plan to activate. And of course it's also important to also locate physicians or asking physicians or nurses or any clinical staff rather to respond to various areas within the hospital. And so we're very pleased to have this system operational. We take the opportunity to thank the Pan American Health Organization and to further congratulate the hospital as we continue to scale up our efforts in regard to emergency response.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Nicole Slack-Liebert. As World Cancer Day is commemorated today, February 4th, focus is being placed on this year's slogan, "Not Beyond Us," a reminder that cancer prevention, care, and treatment is not beyond reach and can be attained by working collectively to address the various challenges. Today, in address to mark the observance, Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, the Honorable Mark Brantley, said the 2015 campaign will heighten attention to the adoption of healthy lifestyles, delivering early detection, achieving treatment for all, and maximizing the quality of life.
Cognizant of an average of approximately 20 cases of cancer per year in the years 2012 and 2013 alone, the Ministry of Health has chosen to commemorate World Cancer Day during the entire month of February, and thus has not limited its activities to just the 4th of February. Activities will focus on healthy eating, including a high-fiber, low-fat, low-salt diet, which consists of locally grown fruits and vegetables. Additionally, the promotion of physical activity for 30 minutes at least 5 days per week will also be encouraged. The population of particular focus will be primary school-aged children who will receive cancer education through a variety of strategies, including a food preparation exercise in partnership with the Rouse Foundation and the Ministries of Education and Agriculture.
Minister Brantley notes that health screening services will also be offered in partnership with various local and international entities as part of this month's activities.
Through its various service delivery centers, the Ministry of Health offers procedures including, but not limited to, pap smears, colonoscopies, prostate exams, breast examinations, and blood pressure and blood sugar screenings that result in the early detection of cancers, including breast, cervical, and prostate.
The Ministry of Health will continue to provide quality support services for persons with cancer, as well as their families, friends, and caregivers, Minister Brantley says, adding that the ministry will continue to work in partnership with pharmaceutical entities to ensure that palliative care is accessible and affordable to patients who need it.
Treatment services for cancer, which include surgery, radiation therapy, and chemotherapy, are available on Nevis. We continue to work with regional and international treatment centers to provide access to services that are not available in the Federation. Beyond geographic access, we are ever mindful of the barrier of financial access and will continue to work towards the attainment of universal health insurance, which will remove this impediment. This will allow us to safeguard our most important asset, our people, and contribute immensely to the development of this, our island. Advancements in cancer prevention, care, and treatment cannot be successful without the participation of you, the people. Participate in the various activities that will be held throughout this month. Cancer is not beyond us. I challenge you to do your part and put it behind us.
Meantime, throughout this week, health educator Chevany Nisbet is facilitating cancer awareness sessions with the island's primary school students. Here is more in this report.
Today, February 4th, is World Cancer Day, and in commemoration of this day, the Ministry of Health here on Nevis is hosting a week of activities. The theme for World Cancer Day this year is Not Beyond Us. Health educator Chevany Nisbet today conducted interactive sessions at 2 of the primary schools here on the island, the St. James's and Ivor Walters, to teach the grade 5 and 6 students about the different types of cancer, their signs and symptoms, and the color which represents each cancer.
We have over 100 different types of cancer, right? And most of the cancers are represented by a different color ribbon, and some of them you're going to see them here. This is not all, but this is some of them. So every cancer, most of the cancers have a different type of ribbon that represents a cancer. Like I am wearing a blue ribbon that represents prostate cancer. Miss Lightbud is wearing a purple ribbon, a lavender, like purple ribbon, and that represents all the cancers. So here we have 2 pictures. We have here, this is a picture of your cells from the side, like if you take a side shot of your cells, right? And on this, you see how in normal cells they have like, they're lined up straight and they're lined up properly, right? This is how it looks when you do not have cancer. Somebody who has cancer, you see how the cells here, they're not lined up straight, they're like growing out of control. Here they're forming a tumor because that person has cancer, so that's how it looks in this picture.
Alison Hill, guidance counselor at the Ivor Walters Primary School, shared her experience with cancer.
Cancer is something that will take your life if you do unhealthy things like smoke, but it is very, very, very addictive. You know, your body craves it. Even when your head tells you you shouldn't have it, you know, your body craves the nicotine. And when your body craves that nicotine, you have to have a cigarette. And my brother, up until the point where he couldn't talk anymore because they had to put what is called a trach in his throat. It's a tube, yeah, it's kind of like an open tube to help him breathe because the cancer was taking over his breathing. So they had to put the trach in his throat, open up, it's literally a hole in your throat, and they put a tube in. Up to that point, my brother still wanted to smoke cigarettes. He still asked us to please bring him a cigarette. Well, he was breathing with the help of the trach. But he, of course not, we didn't give him any cigarettes and he wasn't very happy. But the point is, esophageal cancer is something that's very painful, a lot of suffering, and horrible to watch somebody and horrible for that person to go through. So cigarettes is not anything we should play with.
Nisbet stated that throughout the week, the unit will be visiting various primary schools around the island to educate the students about cancer. She is also encouraging the members of the various business places and institutions to wear a color that represents a cancer to bring awareness. I am Freddie Silibard reporting for the Nevis Newscast.
The Ministry of Health is inviting the public to participate in the remaining cancer awareness activities which will be held throughout this month. That's it for this evening's edition of the Nevis Newscast. Thank you for viewing. Good night.